Creepy guy in the park. Creepy guy in the park. Hello. This is my first Reddit post ever, so bear with me as I try to navigate through what happened. Also, apologies in advance if this is long-winded or confusing. Writing is not my strong suit. I'm also not sure if this is the right place to post this. If so, please do tell me. Trigger warning: creepy guy or predator, cussing, and sexual harassment. The people in this story are me, a family of 4 consisting of a mother, a father, a toddler, and a baby, and of course our guest of honor, the creep. For context, I am a 17-year-old female. I was born and raised in Canada, with a pretty sheltered life as my mother is very overprotective. I read a lot on this subreddit, so I am in no way naive or unaware of how to deal with a threat. But up until this point, I have never dealt with harassment before. For the summer, I'm visiting my godmother in Italy. This is my first time ever leaving Canada. Since she works during the weekdays, I travel about my own around Italy. For this story, I took a ferry to Ischia, a small island in Napoli, to tour around. When I first arrived on the island, I made the plan to head to a small scenic park not too far from the port so I can plan my day. It was around 3 p.m. when I was at the park. Now, the park itself made its way into a semi-forested area. The pathways were covered by trees and bushes alike, so it's easy to get lost in there, at least for me. It was also pretty desolate at the time, and gone from the public eye. I was sitting on the bench, next to a playground for children, decked out with swings and slides. There was a family a little away from me playing in the playground. The playground resides in a little circle-like clearing in the park. On opposite sides of the clearing are the pathways that take you around the park. The paths have trees making a tunnel-like path, so it can be hard to sit down unless you are directly in front of it. From where I was sitting on the bench, which was near the north pathway, I could see down the south pathway. Now, I was sitting at this bench for a while, mind you, as Italy is pretty hot and I'm not used to the heat. My head was down looking at my phone, so I wasn't exactly paying attention to the outside world, but I would look up periodically to watch the family play. It was around now 4 p.m., which was nearing when I had to leave to catch my ferry back. As I was about to pack up, I look up from my phone and I see a guy standing in the path across from me, the south pathway. Now, I wear glasses. My eyesight isn't that good, so I couldn't really make out what this guy was standing there for at first glance. I also didn't want it to be known that I had my eyes on him, so I would try to get a better look from my peripherals. After a minute of watching this guy and trying to figure out why he was staring at me, I come to a horrifying conclusion. To put it lightly, this guy was jacking off in public while watching me. It was light out, and a literal fucking family was not even 10 feet away from me. For anyone wondering, for the non-Americans watching, 10 feet is 3.048 meters. It was just in front of me! This was the first time I've ever experienced anything like this, so I was scared shitless. Let me make myself clear. I look like a teenager. I have acne and a baby face, so it's very clear I'm underage. As I was sitting there panicking about what to do, I see this guy move side to side on the path to get a better look at me. The creep looked unassuming, with some grey baseball shorts, a black graphic tee, and a balding head. From what I could tell, he was around his early 30s. I don't speak much Italian, and with how frazzled I was from this all, I could not utter a cohesive sentence. Non parlo bene l'italiano, non lo parlo molto bene, e come vi avevo detto che vengo dal Canada, e con quanto ero molto esauruta da tutto questo e avevo molta paura, non riuscivo a pronunciare una frase coesa. After sitting on the bench for another minute trying to calm down and think clearly, I pulled out my translator app and typed in a message to translate it to Italian. Now, to not alert this creep that I knew what he was doing, I stood up casually and I began to make my way to the mother of the family, who was with her young baby at the time. The father and the toddler, I believe, were gone playing off a little farther in the trees as I could not see them. While shaking with my nerves, I approached the mother. I held up my phone with the message on it without a word. Now, from where the mother was, you could not see down the path, so she was none the wiser about what was happening. She reacted really well. Roughly, my translated message went along the line of, "Hello? Sorry, I do not speak much Italian, but I'm in need of help. There is a creepy guy on the path over there watching me and I'm scared." As for the message that the app translated, it said, "Salve, scusate se non parlo molto italiano bene, ma ho bisogno di aiuto. C'è un tipo inquietante sul sentiero laggiù che mi guarda e ho paura." Now, yes. Now I know I probably should have made my situation more clear in the message, but I was freaking out and I did not know well my English would translate into Italian, so I kept it short. After the mother read the message, she got a concerned look on her face and asked me to show her where this guy was. Now, we walked like 5 feet over to where the path begins to find the fuckers gone. By the way, 5 feet is roughly almost 2 meters. I assume he saw me walking towards the mother. Thankfully, I came to find that the mother speaks a little English, so I was able to communicate roughly what the creep was doing. Since she was with a baby, I didn't want her to go after the creep, but she was mad enough to attempt. Eventually, she told me that her husband would be back soon, and he spoke more fluently. Once he came back, I re-explained what happened and asked if I could follow them out to the park to a public area, so I would not be left alone and vulnerable. While they were packing up their belongings, I called my godmother and gave her a brief rundown of the situation, that I'll be making my way back to the ferry. Now, I would love to say that this is where my tale ends, without any more troubles, but sadly that was not how it went. After me and the family left the playground area, we made our way back to the opposite path, from where the creep was to where I assume was the exit to the park, to the main road. While walking, the mother tried to comfort me, assuring that the guy wouldn't follow me, as he left as soon as he got a clue that I caught on. I thought differently, as I could see this guy very clearly from where I was sitting, and was not subtle about his staring. After walking a little bit more throughout the path to the exit, I spot a familiar-looking man walking back to the playground. Once I made eye contact with him, I immediately knew it was the creep from before, walking casually like nothing was wrong. Once he spotted me, walking with the family, he quickly made a turn onto a path that diverged from the main one. The creep was circling back to find me. assuming that I had stayed at the playground or was walking alone to the exit. I lean over to the mother and quickly tell her that it was the same guy. Unfortunately, the path that the guy took to avoid us was the same one we needed to take to get to the exit. This dumb fucking creep cornered himself without any way to leave except to pass by us. The father at that point had the baby in his arms and the toddler following him closely behind. The mother, in a rage, followed shortly after the creep, cussing him out in a mix of English, Italian, and Spanish, as I come to find out that they were visiting from Mexico. The creep walked sheepishly off with his head tucked, pretending he could not hear the lady yelling at him. Finally, after the angry mother stopped following the man, we made it to the exit of the park. I thanked them profusely and bid my farewells and made my way down to the port. That family saved me from a dangerous situation, and I could not be more thankful for their comfort and protection. I often think about what could have happened had I left the park on my own, knowing that this guy would have circled back for me. So for my first sexual harassment experience, I give the rating -1 out of 5 stars. Would not recommend. So to the creepy guy in the park, let's not meet again. So yeah. So TLDR, creepy guy in a park watches me in public and touches himself. Tries to circle back to find me after getting caught.